strike some deal, rejection happens, and again you are setting it up. Okay, so these kind of things, industrial entrepreneur. If you look at agricultural entrepreneur, okay, someone who is engaged in agricultural activities. Okay, you must have seen some middlemen come, they make a site where people can, put it up there, and then they sell it to the customers, or door delivery of some, some products which were not otherwise available in all the markets. So these are some ways of looking at it. Okay, according to type of business. Okay, according to type of motivation. Okay, so now it becomes simple, just different ways of classifying. There can be overlap here and there, but pure or induced. Okay, see, induced entrepreneur is someone who gets attracted by incentive subsidies and offers by the government. There is some sector where government is highly, meherban, lot of subsidies. People, they want people to get into that. So a person having entrepreneurial trait may be induced to go into that kind of thing. Maybe if you look at immunity boosting products or Ayurvedic based products, Patanjali kind of things. So there is lot of lucrative things there. So person may be, there is some external force inducing, and the person may go into that. So that can be induced entrepreneur. Pure entrepreneur, you know, having some solid drive to make some money. I don't want to work under someone. I want to start my own firm. Okay, I don't want to be a job seeker. I want to be a job provider. I'll start up something, and then people will work under me, and you go ahead. Okay, if you look at your MIT alumni, there was one 3D printing a startup here. It's called Fractal Works. Okay, so pure entrepreneur, and there are some other mm, in this 3D only. There was this founder Gopal Krishna. I have seen him. You can make out when you talk to him. Special kind of drive. I want to do something. If this fails, I'll get it something else. They started something. It got rejected. They are not getting orders. They struggled here and there. Had plenty of meetings. Then once it started, it is booming. Very happy for him. Okay, so these kind of things. Pure entrepreneur. I want to do something. I want to be a job provider, not a job seeker. I want to start something and people will work for me. Okay, so according to motivation. Okay, according to use of technology. Okay, technical or non-technical. Not we need not go in depth of it. You can understand what it means. Okay, now there's a small term here called intrapreneur. Okay, we're talking about entrepreneurs. Okay, intrapreneur, these are some people who work in an organization and then start something of their own based on the resources given by that organization. So you're an employee, but you're an intrapreneur. One second. Someone needs to switch off your mic. I think Utkarsh, please mute yourself. If Utkarsh is not on the line, someone please message him. All right, so we are talking about entrepreneurs in the organization who use resources of the organization and then start something of their own. Now, if you look at our innovation center, there is Manipal Technology, Manipal University Technology Business Incubator, MUTBI, where they encourage faculty also, apart from students, to take something. They will provide the resources. Mute myself, Utkarsh. Okay, he's muted, fine. Yeah, if you look at it, okay, entrepreneur, external entrepreneur raises, you know, gets fund from the organization, resources from the organization, and then something he starts something on his own, and some part of the profit goes to the, you know, the mother body. Okay, and you are answerable to the mother body. You are independent, but still you are slightly dependent because you are taking the resources and all that from your uh, main organization. If you look at some of the uh, famous innovations like your Scotch Brite or your sticky pads and all that came from some kind of entrepreneurship only. Okay, people in 3M were encouraged to innovate, and funds were provided, and then it came out all these innovative products, and they sell it with the brand of the mother organization. So that is entrepreneurship. So sometimes, you know maybe next time when you have quiz or assignment or something, small things will be asked, and you will be asked to find out what is this person in this case. So just the answer is entrepreneur. If you find that the person is using the resources of the organization and starting something of their own, it is entrepreneurship. Okay, fine. So let me take you to another chapter called business plan. Okay, very simple. For 3 or 4 marks you can easily get if you understand what is business plan. See, now 4 or 5 years before, this was a hot huge topic. Many people didn't have exposure to this, nobody knew, but now it is very common, very diluted, so you people will be having sufficient knowledge about this beforehand itself, so we need not go in too much depth of it. So this is a self-study thing, so I'm just going to put the just going to put it in a some simpler perspective. Okay, so business plan is something which you have in your hand, which you propose to others in order to get some funding for your project or getting some approval for what you want to do. Okay, so that is a business plan. So it will have a total idea of what you are intending to do. Suppose you want to start something of your own, and you are going to get some permission from some authorities, or you are going to ask some funding from someone, some investor. So they want to know what is your plan. So you cannot just tell orally, I am going to start, for example, food delivery service. I am going to start. Hotels will hotel will cook the food. People will order. I will supply. They will order in my site. I will supply. Okay, easy. Okay, broadly fine. In a nutshell, okay, understood. Then, okay, who are your customers? Who are going to order from your site? What will they get if they order from your site? Can't they directly go to the restaurant and get it? Or can't they directly call the restaurant? They will give the food delivery. Okay, why should they go for this? Who will go for this? When families are cooking at home, students are eating at hostel, who will be your customers then? Okay, then you should have some answer. Okay, they will be cooking. Apart from that, we'll doing this additional thing. We'll give some discount. Why should hotel people, have a tie-up with you? Okay, so you should be able to tell we are giving them some benefits because of joining. Yeah. Okay, so when you generate a business plan, first having a good idea, then scanning the environment. Will this sell or not? Are there any competitors? What are the challenges in this? Will I get all subsidies and all that required? Is it going to be something unethical? Who are going to get benefited from me? Okay, will people agree to my idea? Will people join me? Okay, so all this environmental scanning, how many competitors do I have? How much fund is needed in this? Can I get returns on time? So all these things. Then feasibility analysis. Is it really possible? When will I get the required investment? What is the right time to start? By when I can give the return on investment? By when I can get break even? Who will be my workforce? Will I get workforce here? Suppose you want to do something on very specialized thing. Do you get that workforce available in Manipal? Suppose you are planning here, or you should get from outside. So is it feasible? Will people leave industry and join me for already working in some high profile job things? Will they leave that and join me even if I pay them good benefits? Is it possible? Without their expertise, I may not able to proceed. Can I get them? So all this you are checking here, feasibility analysis. Okay, then your project report presentation and a project report preparation. So it should have everything. Okay, from where you are going to get your supplier. See, people have many ideas. Okay, they want to start some food delivery service or mobile food service or mobile ATM. So many things people are telling. But who will be your suppliers? You want to start a ATM mobile. The vehicle will move here and there. People can stop that vehicle and then withdraw money. Okay, now who is going to manufacture that kind of vehicle for you? Okay, do you have any supplier details in your mind? How much they are quoting? So all these things you should know when you're proposing something. If you simply tell your idea, people may tell, okay, next, move ahead. But if you have all these things prepared, the investors will at least show some interest, and then they will suggest you also. See, right now I don't think this is going to work. Please go revisit, have some inputs on these areas, and then come to me. So that is also good thing. Okay, so all this will come into play when you are preparing your project report, and then evaluation, control, review. Okay, is it right or not, happening or not, when it will happen. So this is the business plan process. So usually, you know, three 2 or 3 marks this question is asked. Explain the business plan process. So you should be able to explain this in your own words. Okay, starting from idea generation to feasibility analysis, report presentation, evaluation. Okay, so if you think in depth, okay, so this business plan process, it's a never ending process. Okay, you will have one thing, but when you grow, then again you need more money, you'll have to refine it again and again, because new challenges like your product life cycle, introduction, growth, like that. What was there, it is not there now. There is more competition, or some idea is outdated, people don't want it. Okay, so it's like that. So if you think clearly, it's a written document, business plan, okay, which describes everything which is relevant, either internal to your organization or external. You want to start something. Okay, for example, you want to make some pen or pencil from waste, from recycled material. You want to manufacture these things. Okay, so where is that setup you want? Okay, where do you want to put up that plant? Okay, how many people in your team you have right now? How many are needed? From where will you get that raw materials? From where will you get that machinery that will roll these things? From where will you get this packaging things? How many people are needed for packaging? Once this is done, who are your customers? Are there anyone, or do you have a tie-up with someone who has promised that they will sell your product? Okay, what about the quality? How much are you going to price? Similar is there anyone in similar business already? Why is your thing different from them? Or why is it exactly same? Okay, so all these things you should be able to answer by telling, yes, we have identified some suppliers. We have got their quotations also. One is from China, one is from Spain, for example, or one is from some other place, or two people from India. Okay, we have got their quotations. This is what they are charging. Okay, I've seen some startups where they got some kind of machinery from China because that was cheaper than the other things they found in India or other places. I cannot disclose more, but I have found that they have got it from China finally because it was cheaper and working out, and the quality was good, and they were delivering it sooner than the others. So that mm, group got funding because they had done this homework, and when they presented the plan, the group was, I mean, the panel was impressed that these people have done some homework, they know what they are doing. Okay, so in this business plan, when someone reads it and thinks of investing, they should have a clear picture. Okay, what have you decided, what have you thought about? Okay, so we are getting some vendors here and there, from them we are getting it. We are decided to start the plant here. This is the location, this is the rent and all those things. This is the operating income, I mean, this is the operating expense. This will be the overhead charges. So this will be the total cost. We are going to produce these many items. Per product cost is going to be this much. We have found out these people who are ready to deal with us. So the delivery charges are this much. They will sell us this much. They will give us money in a span of credit period of say 1 or 2 months. So initially first 4 months will be under loss once the production starts, but from the fifth month we are going to start profiting, and this will be the profit curve. This is going to be the break even by this, say by 20, we are starting this year 2021. So by 2023 Jan we should be breaking even. We will be able to give returns to the investors from 2023. So this kind of a clean, described, detailed plan. So this will interest the investors. Okay, that is the sole reason of business plan, to make sure that you have a clean plan in hand. Without all these things, you cannot directly jump in. Okay. And then because anyone who is investing obviously thinks of return on investment. The idea may be very beautiful, okay, superb idea, but how are you going to execute it? Okay, so you cannot do that in vacuum. You need so many things. Okay, suppose you are manufacturing that pen and pencil from waste. Okay, so after you roll and everything, there will be still some wastage. Okay, where are you going to dispose it? Nowadays waste disposal also a critical condition, I mean critical criteria. Okay, where are you going to dispose it? Okay, will there be any consequences of that? Are you going to just dump it in some river or sea or something? Will there be some repercussions of that? Will that cause some problem, health issues and all that? Will that agricultural thing get disturbed in that area, flora and fauna and all that? Will the locals oppose to it? Okay, will there be some government regulations that come in? We'll have to abide by it. Are we going to be, so many things. So when you have done this homework, people will be impressed. That is the sole idea of this business plan. Also, I know many of you may be having some plans to start something of your own. Okay, so when you want to pitch your idea to some investors, it is always better to have a small prototype ready with you. Okay, that will speed up your process. Now I told you pen, pencil, you want to roll this, that, so many things, fine. But okay, idea is there in place, good business plan, but they will be more interested if you show them one or two samples. See, this is what we have tried and this is how it has come up. I know this is not of good quality right now, but we are going to improve on it, or this is, so whatever. So if you have something, they'll feel okay, fine, this person has, this team has done well. They have, really done some groundwork and they have shown us some solid proof in front of us. So let us invest, things will improve. Okay, so once we start, again, now if you look at Byju's, we started from somewhere. Now every month you can see Byju is getting this much funding, that much funding from this source, that source, whatever. Okay, why? Because he's again pitching them ideas, showing his growth now. Okay, we have reached here, we have potential to grow in this region, in this area we can grow. We had started only with kids courts, now we can do with some, you know, um, with other professional courses we can deal with. So there is always growth options, and he is showing all those things, presenting his plan and getting investments by impressing the investors by showing some solid growth plan. Okay, so that is the importance of business plan. So you should be knowing what are the components of a business plan, and make a small business plan of any idea in your mind. Okay, 5 to 6 marks in your pocket. I have sent you one sample business plan in the study material folder. You can go through it. So the components of business plan explained in brief. Okay, so important concept. Usually during the offline classes time, we used to give this as an assignment. Students make this business plan and get 5 marks in their pocket. Majority used to copy also from one another. If one person's plan is, for example, mm, just change the title of the plan and then tell it is my idea, then difficult to task who made first, who did, okay, whatever. So then we stopped this assignment thing. Okay, because some were really serious, honest, hard work, but then some were just changing the title and we cannot go and investigate all that. So then we stopped that, but it is a good thing. You can get some easy marks in your exam. Okay, components of a business plan, you should be knowing about it. Fine. Now we will briefly look at the topic called corporate social responsibility. Okay, let me take 1 second break. Yeah, so basically, corporate social responsibility, you must have heard about it so many places. And now also, when we are going through this tough second wave, you must have now seen some companies pitching in and trying to offer some help and all that. So all that is corporate social responsibility. So what is that? Okay, corporate social responsibility basically is a corporate organization trying to give something back to the society from which it has earned. Okay, so it is your responsibility or kind of obligation towards the society that you are working in. So that is corporate social responsibility. Now, in simple terms, just broadly, if I tell you, why should companies involve in this? You can make your money and sit aram se, no? Then why are you coming into this CSR activities? That is because it creates a goodwill in the society about that company. Okay, this company is giving something back to the society. Yes, people want to deal with such companies because you also feel that sense that okay, in a way I am also part of this contribution. So people want to deal with these kind of companies. They are good, they are ethical, they are following all rules and regulations, and then from their profit they are sharing it with the society. So people want to give business to these companies, and as an employee, if you are employing that employee in that company, there is a evidence there is evidence that people feel good to be part of that company, so they don't want to switch to other companies, they want to stick on to it. So it has got implications in all the angles. And then if you are doing something, you can get some subsidy also from the government. Okay, some tax exemption also you can get. So it's beneficial from all the angles. Okay, so that is your corporate social responsibility. This is definition given by the main board of it. You need, nowhere it will be asked this definition. Define CSR, it won't be asked, but the definition tells you the hidden meaning. Okay, continuing commitment. Okay, that it's not that once we did that and now we are not. Okay, so it encourages businesses to behave ethically and then contribute to the society. Okay, which can help in improving the quality of life of the workforce and also the society. Okay, now if you look at okay, we'll not talk about local examples. If you look at bigger corporates like Tata or something, mm, maybe Infosys, TCS, these are the things usually comes in your mind when you talk of CSR. Also, if you look at Reliance and all that, okay, give know mm, ethical and responsible business, making profit, giving it back to the society, and sharing it with the workforce also. So the region in where suppose Jamshedpur Tata plant is there, Jamshedpur. Okay, so the neighboring area also the quality of life has an influence. Okay, it gets better because of so many things that they do. Okay, electricity, roads, schools, and all those things. Okay, so that is the essence of CSR. I wanted to make one point, I forgot something I was about to say. Mm, okay, let me discuss. If it comes to mind later, I'll tell you. Fine. Okay, so this is the explained behavior in simple language. Basically, ethical behavior towards society. Oh, okay. The example I want to discuss was some time back, maybe 10 or 12 years before. When Nike, now it's doing good. Even that time it was doing good. Suddenly the sales started coming down because the news started spreading that the shoes are being made by some underprivileged kids in some third world country. That time social media was not so active worldwide, especially not in India, but in Western countries it was okay. But the news started spreading through different channels, and it was real news actually that Nike is making use of these kind of things. Underprivileged kids in some third world country, they are making these shoes, maybe soles or assembly or something related to that. So people, they started not giving, they stopped giving business to Nike. They switched to some other brand. Then Nike had to come in, pitch in, and then correct it. Yeah, sorry or whatever, we will not do it. And something, they did some damage control, and then okay, then fine, everything fell in place. So if you are, when it comes out that you are not, doing something ethically, or child labor is banned, but if you are using child labor in your business, it's not correct. So it can damage your reputation. People may not want to give business to you. But if you are doing good business, taking care of your employees, giving them all required things, the news will spread. People will want to deal with you, thinking that satisfaction. Okay, I'm dealing with a good company. Okay, so what are the drivers of corporate social responsibility? Okay, why employees, the shareholders, the brand equity. Okay, brand equity is all that you can put in this. People want to purchase from your brand. They want to spread good things about your brand. They want to buy your brand again and again. Okay, so all this can be you know ethical marketing and so good practices. Like I told you, no child labor and all that. You're not harming the environment. You're doing something good, but then disposing all the waste in the sea nearby or river nearby, and then you know the water level gets so many things. You can understand what I want to say. Okay, energy conservation, global warming. Okay, you want to stop this using fossil fuels and go into renewable energy. Okay, and all that, and responsibility towards the government, paying taxes correctly, not cheating. So all these factors. So why companies have to involve in CSR? What are the benefits? Like I discussed, everything. You know, there is increase in customer retention. People want to deal with you because you are doing good. Okay, new people want to join you because you have a good reputation in society. People believe that you are very ethical and doing all good practices. So the stakeholder relationship get enhanced. The people dealing with you directly or indirectly, they feel proud to be associated with you. The workforce don't want to leave your company. They want to stick on to you. Okay, so good reputation. People may want to fund your organization because you are good, doing all ethical things. Okay, so there is no chance of falling in trouble anytime. And because of all this, you are getting new customer bases, making new profits, making sharing again, growing big. So these are some of the benefits for companies to involve in CSR. So basically, it's involving in CSR, you giving back something to society. It's all good things associated. Okay, you feel good, the employees feel good, the society feels good, and the stakeholders of your company who are related with your company directly or indirectly all feel good. Okay. Okay, these are some of the examples of Tata's CSR activities. Okay, dedicate some 12% to corporate social responsibilities. Special provision for training and employing local women wherever their plants are there. Okay, technical and vocational training for youth members. Okay, sports training center at Jamshedpur. Okay, I have seen that place. Uh, where they are encouraging all local sports. People, anyone with some sports inclination, they are sponsoring them, funding them, taking care of them, coaching them. So developing sports in that region. Not only the regular ones, there are some sports which are not in the limelight, where some kind of tribal or some traditional sport which is in a small scale, they're encouraging that also, trying to bring it out big time. So doing something for the society. Okay, people who are good in sports not getting any resources, their growth stops there. So sports center at Tata, if you can get in touch with them, they'll see your potential. And by 2025, I think India is going to get several medals because of these kind of initiatives. Okay, that was what I was told. And then investing in some hospitals and all that. So every organization has got different list of CSR activities that do. Okay, basically, if you look at it mm, from the responsibility towards society, okay, carrying business with moral and ethical standards, no pollution. Okay, basically, whatever I told you in different angles, it is listed here. Okay, overall upliftment of the locality wherever you set your plant, employing local people, training them, investing in good roads, electricity, schools, and any recreational park, all those things. So basically uplifting the neighborhood. So like that, responsibility towards government. Okay, the following all rules and regulations. Regular payment of taxes, no cheating in taxes, no taking advantage of loophole in business laws. because there will be some areas where you can, become bit break free, but not doing that. Okay, cooperating with the government for economic growth and development. So that is responsibility towards government, responsibility towards shareholders. Okay, giving them regular return on whatever investment they have done. You know, being very transparent and accountable where we have incurred losses, where we have got some profits, and how we are going to share, we are going to pay dividends and all that. Being very transparent and accountable. Okay, if you look at responsibility towards employee, okay, healthy working environment, paying regular wages and paying fairly. Okay, making sure that their growth and training and all that happens. Okay, any grievances that addressed very ethically, no cheating, equal working opportunity, men, female, no discrimination, any handicapped person, no discrimination. Okay, fair practices, and someone working hard, appreciating, recognizing them, giving some incentives. Okay, responsibility towards consumers. Okay, making, supplying, harmless products with good quality and value for money. Okay, no, unfair pricing. And after survey, after it is sold, the relation doesn't end there. Okay. Giving them after sales and services. mm, Trying not to get into black market, simply holding when there is need and then selling at higher price. No, avoiding that. Maintaining some, customer, what do you call that, grievance cell to handle any problem. Okay, responding, you know at the right time, very ethically and all that. Fine, so that is about your corporate social responsibility. You'll have to go through this because 3 or 4 marks can easily come into your pocket. So basically this is a self-study thing, but I thought I'll take you through that. And one more last thing that is remaining is your strategic planning process. Okay, this comes in the planning chapter when we had discussed about strategic planning tools. Okay, we had discussed about critical question analysis, SWOT analysis, TOWS matrix, Boston Consulting Group, BCG matrix, Porter's generic models. Okay, those were tools. Okay, so what is the strategic planning process? Okay, so if you have by now understood what are the steps in planning, what is the meaning of SWOT analysis, what is the meaning of strategy and tactics, this is basically a cakewalk. Okay, there is a figure at the end of this chapter, very important figure. I told you there are some 5-6 important figures, so this is one of them. But before going to that figure, just let me give some build up to what we are going to discuss. And one thing, we have already discussed these things in different contexts. Okay, just putting it back in again a perspective. So I told you stakeholder. You remember I had asked you who are stakeholders. Then you are a stakeholder of MIT. Your parents are stakeholders of MIT. I am a stakeholder of MIT. All those things. So who is a stakeholder? If you look at the dictionary meaning, okay, who has a stake directly or indirectly? It can be the, you know, maybe you are holding the shares or you're not holding the shares. So if you look at, there are internal and external stakeholders. Okay, if you look at MIT, the directors, the HODs, the employees, or internal stakeholders. External, okay, students, parents of students, okay, the government, the shareholders, the customers, or the suppliers who supply us so many things. They want to know when we are closing it, when we are opening it. Okay, the suppliers maybe lab equipments or other stationery, or so you can put that, the ones who supply to the canteen, or so many people. mm. Or Om Xerox wants to know when you will start your college, when you will stop, because they they want to adjust their workforce for the Xerox and other things they want to sell. So all these are stakeholders. Okay, fine. So what are the expectations of different stakeholder groups? The stockholders, the one who have your shares, and they want to see when the price will go up, when is the right time to sell, when it is the right time to hold the shares. When will the dividends be paid? Will it be paid at all or not? Okay, if you look at employees want to know, is my job secure or not? What next growth is there for me? Will there be a wage hike? Okay, suppliers, again I told you. Okay, local community want to know, are they starting any other plant nearby? Will we get some job offers there? Okay, they are also directly or indirectly related. So these are different stakeholders. So in general, this is not from your syllabus point of view, but broadly. Because when you talk of all those terms here, people will talk about fiscal and social responsibility. So a firm's obligation to stockholder, the one who have their shares, we refer to that as fiscal responsibility. And for the other stakeholders, we call it as social responsibility. That is why I put this slide in then, because after discussing about corporate social responsibility, you can understand what is the meaning of obligation to other stakeholders. So that is your CSR things. And it's important to balance these two. Okay, because stakeholders want return on investment and society wants to fulfill other needs, so there should be a balance. So just to take you back through what is strategy is some broad plan applied to the entire organization. Okay, long term plans. Tactics are the short term things which help you you know realize your strategies. So we have discussed about different types of plans. In that we have discussed about policy. Okay, policies are certain guidelines, I told you, which help you in deciding something. So policies and strategies, if you compare, policies are like guidelines. They guide the managers in decision making. Strategies are broad courses of action that apply to the entire organization and helps you reach your long term objectives. Okay, policies are kind of something discretion. The essence of policy itself is some discretion that guides you. You should do this or not, or how you are planning to do it. Okay, strategy. It's concerned with the direction in which other things have to be put in place to achieve your bigger goal. Okay, if you look at some, you know, develop new products that fit into company's market structure, start new courses that fit into MIT culture. If I tell I want to start a new course on Bollywood dance, okay, see, we are a technical institute, I want to start a new course on robotics. Okay, fine, that will hold good. Okay, so these kind of things, does it fit in your organizational window or not? Okay, and we are planning to grow by acquisition. Okay, see, there are some other engineering colleges I told you. Okay, Mahe can get them. Okay, give the Mahe brand name and it comes under Mahe. That is one way to grow. Or start a campus in Jaipur or somewhere. You must have seen Apollo hospitals or something. Okay, already existing hospitals, they buy them and they start under the Apollo brand name. That is one way of acquiring. Okay, so this can be your strategies. Next 5 years I want to do these things. I want to make inroads into this state. Now suppose, for example, Tamil Nadu has nothing to do with Maya, for example. So by next 2 3 years I want to start one engineering college in Tamil Nadu under Maya's brand name. I want to start a hospital chain. Okay, so what is to be done now? Like that. Okay, now if you look at some examples here, how IBM ventured into retail market. Okay, see, they set up long back. These are long back examples. Okay, old examples, but since you have seen this in different contexts, you have heard about this, saw this in movies or something, you can understand what is it exactly. Okay, IBM had set up product centers when they were into PCs, huge initial PCs when they were rolled out. Okay, the IBM was a big name in PCs, typewriters, and they were decorated in red color. Okay, so the problem with this is this bright colors irritated the people. People did not feel good about it. Okay, and then when they took feedback, they found out that you know not all can use computers so easily, and upon that, these kind of color combinations are very irritating. So then they had to change their strategy. Okay, they had to correct their mistakes. The color combination was changed, and there was customer care center to help people to log in and all that. So these are the ways you use your strategies to your benefit. Okay, so in which area generally we talk about strategies, now? Okay, new product or new services, marketing. We are doing marketing in a certain way. Now we want to market in some different way. Okay, now if you are watching IPL, you must have seen the more, so many ads are coming about some app called Grow. Then there is something called Upstocks and all those things. Okay, so all these are some kind of trading apps. So before that, another famous app was something called Zerodha. Okay, from which you can register and then you can trade yourself instead of going to some other, broker in some center. You can download the app and you can buy, you can sell shares. So there was only Zerodha till recently and one or two other players, but now Grow, Upstocks and all, they have come and started, marketing aggressively. So now the Zerodha will start something very soon. Okay, this company Zerodha started some 10 years before, and it took them, say, I think, 1 year to get first 100 customers. Okay, who will download that app and start trading through that app. Okay, then 4 years to get next 1,000 customers, and then once that was done, now, Zerodha is a big company. Those who are not into trading may not know about this, but those who are trading, in share market, they will be familiar with this app. Okay, so it's like that. So Zerodha, first it was not marketing at all. They relied on word of mouth. Okay, so there are some products which don't do marketing, like your Lamborghini or some, big cars. They want it to happen by itself. Okay, by word of mouth. But then some companies think like that and then they come into marketing, because now they know there are a lot of competitors, difficult to survive without, jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai. That's the basic thing. If people know that this exists, they will be attracted. Otherwise they may think it may not be there now, I don't know. Okay, so that's why. So areas of strategizing, marketing and your growth. You want one plant here, one plant there. Finance, you want to make new huge profit, and then, you want to expand our workforce by this much. So how to strategize? Public relations. So these are some areas of strategizing, and this is that figure which talk about strategic planning process. Okay, how do you plan for 4 or 5 years in future? Okay, how do you make, what is the process that is involved when you're planning something for the long term? Okay, so if you look at this figure, in at the leftmost side you have inputs. Okay, it's like your systems approach: input, process, output. So if you look at these inputs, what are the inputs of an organization that we had discussed before? Okay, people, capital, skills, technology, the goals that you have in your mind, all these act as inputs. Okay, now these influence your enterprise plans. Okay, so what are your plans? So these plans are based on the top management, their vision. Okay, your vision and mission, and then your purpose and objectives. Why do you exist? What is the purpose? What you are doing? In which sector you are operating? What is your goal? And what the top management wants? We want to be top leaders in global healthcare or whatever. So these things define your enterprise profile. Okay, this is the angle in which I have to work on. Okay, then you look at what are the resources you have right now. Okay, and then you look at the external environment you are operating in. That will help you forecast the future environment. Okay, what are the courses we are running now? What are the hot courses that are, there in the market? Okay, robotics, aerodynamics or whatever. Okay, some microprocessors or something, chips, whatever, what is there. So future, in next 4 or 5 years, this is going to be the big thing. Okay, do we have the things in us to achieve that? Okay, so next what you think is, you think about strategizing. Okay, what should we do? So here you look at the SWOT analysis. Okay, internal strength and weaknesses, external opportunity and threat. You match this, you map this, and then decide what you are going to do. Okay, you are looking at different strategies and then deciding, we will go with maxi. We are going to maximize opportunity, maximize, you know the maximize our strength. We are going to work on this, or we are going to mini. We are going to minimize weakness, we are going to minimize threat, we are going to close down several things, and we will focus on only one thing. Okay, there were some companies recently, they were decided to close all other things so that they can focus on only one thing. Like your Yahoo, if you see, they told that we are going to stop this mail and all that because we want to focus on something else so that we grow big in that area instead of channelizing your energy in all places. Okay, so then whatever choice you have made, you evaluate it. Okay, is it working or not? Can I do it or not? And then comes your controlling. Okay, so any planning process, controlling will be there. Okay, because you are controlling periodically. You decided on something, you started, but you are then kind of auditing it. Is it going according to plan or not? Are we behind our schedule? Should we go forward? Or is there something, some unprecedented thing has happened? How do we cope with it? We'll have to change our plan for a bit. So that is your implementation and control. Then there's a feedback loop that goes. Okay, based on some things, you'll have to manipulate the all the other plans. You decided you're going to do something, but because of COVID or something, things have stopped. So now you'll have to change your plan. So when you change your plan, you're doing some major changes. So you may need more people or you may need less people. Your objective may change. Okay, so you'll have to revisit and make the changes. So this is your strategic planning process. Very important figure. Learn this. Okay, so just let me tell you some 4 5 important figures I told you. Uh, okay, I'll send that document later. But if you can recall, one is the different skills of managers at different levels: first level, second level, top level. You know, technical skills, conceptual skill, human skill. That one figure is important. Then another is your management by objectives, where the boss subordinates sit together, decide on the objectives. Then if it is met, you get performance appraisal. Otherwise the objectives are revisited. So that is one MBO, which is important figure. Then systems approach to management. Okay, input, output, process, external environment, which we had seen in the first chapter. Then another figure is systems approach to staffing. Okay, the manager inventory, how many people you need in future, do you have that in you, whether you should go for external recruitment or internal, and then appraisal, training and all that. That one figure is important. Then another is your, in leadership theories, managerial grid. Okay, which is also called as Blake and Mountain grid. If you remember, concern for people versus concern for production. Okay, we had some 5 different quadrants that came in: impoverished management, middle of the road management, country club management, team management, authority compliance. That is one important figure. Another is your this one strategic planning process. So whenever you appear for any UIM exam, learn these figures. Okay, because at least 2 or 3 will be asked. That helps you in your scoring perspective also, easy for valuation also, and very important in real life also. Okay, so these are some things. 139 are there. Let me take your attendance at this moment. Okay, so I just followed up with some people who had attendance less than 65, uh, and they have told me what they are facing right now. So it is fine, they can make up the attendance, nothing to worry. And others also, don't worry too much about attendance. I don't think it should be an issue. Mm, just focus on your next coming up sessional and then the quiz. Someone asked me the portions for that. The portions are not yet decided. It will be done shortly. I will message you. But most likely for your internal exam, the test, in semester test or the sessional, it could be planning, organizing, and staffing maximum. Okay, which you have already seen in your uh, quiz and assignment. Okay, so we have finished the portions. If something is left, if I feel that left something here and there, I will take one class in future, maybe same slot, Monday or Thursday, and then touch upon those concepts. Otherwise I'll make one video and upload where you can find that concept. And right now, according to me, I have finished whatever was there in the syllabus. I have sent you all the materials. I have sent you some small cases also with some explanation that will help you understand what is happening. I have sent you all the past year question papers also, which were accessible to me, so that you understand how questions are asked. And otherwise you become very blind kind of thing. What is there to study in this? What kind of questions are asked? Is it too much descriptive or whatever? So these question papers will help you. And some things we had decided in the earlier, we have discussed in the earlier classes also. One or two question papers we had discussed earlier. Earlier I had showed you what kind of questions were asked. So right now I think we are done with everything. So as far as theory is concerned, I think this will be our last class. If something is pending or something, I'll get back to you. And if you have any doubts anytime, you can mail me. I will reply. uh, and I hope that can help. Mm, yeah, so I think I'm done, but before going, I know a lot of people are facing so many problems. There's a lot of tension in so many places. So take care of your health, your family's health. you know Take care of all those things. Don't worry too much about attendance and marks and all of this subject. This energy you can put in some other subject where you find some difficulty. Okay, if you want any time, you can just tell me. I will come back and conduct one revision session whenever you want. If it is before sessional or if it is before semester exam, if you think that you need one kind of revision, I am always ready. Just let me know. Whoever is interested can sit in the class. I mean, who can log in and sit there. I will discuss whatever I can do. So don't worry too much of this subject. You put that energy in some other subject where you think you need extra effort. At least about attendance, don't worry too much. Almost all are now in 70. Don't worry. Next 2-3 classes I'll manage. 75 it will be. So best thing is focus all your energy on taking care of yourself and your parents and neighbor, and family. Okay, fine. So I have nothing to say more. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, or we can wind up this session. Yeah, the floor is open. Anything you want to clarify? Nothing? Okay, then. Fine. um, we can then log off.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.